Quick update for my plugin system, Google Analytics, no cookies. I had to change the name. The JED administrators told me they wouldn't publish it with the word free in the name, which is funny because this plugin is not free. I been adding a bunch of features to it, and I want to run through all those right now. It's really pretty sweet. I think you're gonna dig it. All the same features. The plugin has the same, debug, tracker activity, anonymize, user ID, all that great stuff. I added custom dimensions. I added 4 custom dimensions to it. Joomla article author category, the year that the article was published, and this user dimension is it reports if the user viewing the article is registered or a guest. So it's not the same as the user ID here. It just reports if the person visiting the article is a registered user or not. Analytics plugins, this is the same. Whitelist menu item settings. YouTube. We are now tracking YouTube events, also cookie free. Now there's a caveat. When you load your YouTube video, you must have the enable.js API query var in the URL. Now I know that several of the YouTube plugins do that, and I will be very soon releasing. I haven't released it yet. I'm glad I didn't, because its name is also is YouTube cookie free. So I need to adjust the name. I'm gonna go the same route here. I'm just gonna call it YouTube no cookies. It's just gonna be a simple replacement, but it will load YouTube videos without the YouTube and Google cookies. But you have to load it with that extra query var of enable.js API equals 1 in order for the Google Analytics to be able to connect with the YouTube video. But with that enabled, with that query var and these enabled, you can report back to your analytics on these events. And I've made it a checkbox so you can decide which events you want to get reports on. So you could report on, like the one that's important to me is ended. I want to know if someone watches the video all the way to the end. Anyway, so along with that data is sent either the video ID, which is the ugly weird letter number combination, the video identifier that YouTube assigns, or you can send it with the video title. Now I'm going to go ahead and re-enable all of these events here, and I'm going to save it, and we are going to jump into my little demo thing here. This one is super cool. I'm gonna have to show you that one in a minute. That's my next deal. So I've just got this weird video. I don't even know where I got this thing from. It's not even in English. I don't know what they're saying. But what happens is I've got my network filter. My network filter here only showing the analytics events. So you hit play and we get a couple of events here. The query string includes, it is a YouTube event. Unstarted means that the video is not playing yet. And then we're sending the title. This one I believe is the playing, or maybe the buffering. It's probably the buffering event. Yeah, buffering event here. And then we've got our playing event right there. Now if I pause it, we had another event fire. Jump down here, we got paused. I'm going to play it again. Of course, it's going to show playing again. Playing. Now this is actually my favorite one. I love watching this happen. I scroll down to the bottom here, and when the video goes back to play, bam, we had another event fire. And that event is ended. So we get notified upon all of these different events happening. Now, in the configuration here, you see that I have video title chosen. If I switch that to video ID and save, we go back to this video. I'm going to reload the whole page so I can get the new configurations. Now, this is the player ready event happens here. Now we're getting the video ID instead. So yay, now we're tracking YouTube events. And this one, I got to go back to the configuration. Man, I'm going to end up spending more time writing the documentation on just this one feature than I did writing the whole extension. So this is craziness here. So and right now I only have two classes of events. I only have mouse events and clipboard events. I'm going to be going over all of the DOM event documentation to figure out what events I can tie to this, because what I've set up here is an event triggering system that's based on CSS classes. So you use the CSS classes to define which elements get events, what events they fire on, and what data to send with those events back to Google. So here it's described that it's made of 3 or 4 components. So it's always GA no cookies underscore component 2, component 3, component 4. What those component 2, 3, and 4 represent are the event, the name of the event, and maybe some data that goes along with it. Some of the classes, some of the event classes don't have a defined event. It's a calculated event. So like mouse over gets its event. Its component 4 is the target attribute. So what that is say you I described it here. I gave it an example here. Oh yeah. So no, I gave a click event example there. What kind of a good example? Oh yeah, here we go. Mouse over example, GA no cookies, mouse over, dog picture ID. What happens here is, say you've got 10 dog pictures, right? And you assign each of those 10 dog pictures this one class. And what happens is, if someone hovers their mouse over one of those pictures, an event gets sent. And the event is tagged dog picture, and this ID means that the ID of the picture is sent along with the event data. So we're saying we got a dog picture, mouse over, and it was this dog picture, right? So and the ID can be in any number of things. It's any attribute tied to the HTML element that the event is tied to. So it could be the ID, it could be the title, it could be the image source, it could be a data element, it could be inner text, which actually has its own. I actually define that right here. Inner text. Yeah, I defined it somewhere. Target attribute. Where is it? Blah blah blah. I know I put inner text in here somewhere. I know I wrote it. There it is. Text. One predefined target, and that is text, returns the inner text value. Okay. So if your element doesn't have an inner text value, it's not going to work. So I mean, if you're doing images, don't choose text. But I mean, we've got these mouse events. We've got click, aux, click, and double click, and then we've got select. Now, select is the super cool one. I really dig select. This is really awesome here. We're going to go ahead and highlight a portion of this. So I've got, okay, now select only works on text and text area. That's in the document here. or in the description here, right here. I promise I'm trying to keep it there. So what happens is this event was sent with, it was a select event, and what did I call it? Inspect GNO cookie select. Yeah, I didn't give it a great name. The second select is like the name of the event. So I could have called that, stupid highlight thingy. I could have called it whatever I wanted to. But the event, there is the event type, the event name, and this is the data that was selected. So if I only highlight, let's do that. Let's only highlight cookie. Pop. Let's look at this last one, and the data highlighted is cookie right there. So you can do some cool stuff with that. Let's go back here. Clipboard events. This one's kind of weird, but yeah, you can capture the data that is being copied or pasted to the clipboard. So if somebody copies an element, you can send an event on that. If they paste an element, if they paste into an element, you can send an event on that. So I mean, I don't want to tell you all the things you can do with it, because I saw the ability and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to make that available just in case I ever might want to use it in the future. And if I can think of a way to use it, then surely somebody else can too. But like I said, I'm going to end up writing more documentation on this than exists for the entirety of the extension itself. But I'll be going through the documentation, the DOM documentation, to find out what events I can trigger on, and this is going to grow. Right now, it only covers these listed events, but I'm for certain that there are many more events that I could operate on. Oh, one thing that this is totally great for is tracking downloads. So you could prescribe a class for downloads, and just apply that class to every download button you've got. There are some other things I'm going to be adding to this extension, and looking forward to telling you all about it when it happens.